What I would suggest you do, and this is what I did, so if anybody follows me on Twitter, they'll know that there's like 6 or 8 messages a day on Twitter that go out there constantly through a social media scheduling tool. So I wrote my 65-page guide, then turned it into blogs, 400-page blog, and then into tweets and posts. So if you take the time now to create your 30-page skincare guide, then you can repurpose it. And then you can think, right, every single day I get the same question from clients, I'm going to turn that into a video. And then on your Facebook page you can say, oh, you know, Julie's been asking me questions today, so I thought I'd share it with everyone because I seem to get asked this a lot. So it's all about thinking content-wise what you can create and what you can repurpose and get out there so people see that you're credible and you know what you're talking about. So, creating content, there's a table here that you can flow through. So it goes back to that problem recognition, information search, evaluation of alternatives. It's thinking about what you can write or do a video of or have an Instagram picture of at every aspect of that funnel. Remember that funnel we looked at the beginning? And then it's a case of when they're evaluating their alternatives, your social proof is on there, and when they make a decision, they made the right decision. Yeah? So it's using your content, your social proof, your educational marketing in a way that matters to them. And if you haven't bought your equipment yet, which I'm pleased to see some of you haven't, you've now got a great opportunity to do some research. So it's not too late. Find out. Don't think, oh, I really want this bit of kit. I really want it. Everyone wants it. Everyone's got it. Just see what's missing in your area. Look round at your competition, see what's missing. But more importantly, ask your clients, are they interested in the results that this new equipment that you want to buy brings? If they're not, the chances are there's no point in you getting it. It's all about market research. So you could also do a survey in-house, do an online one, but you could also have an addendum, a little extra to your consent form to say what else bothers you, what else concerns you, fine lines and wrinkles, and if they tick it, while they're sat there, then it's an opportunity for a conversation. Oh, I see you tick this. Oh, we're thinking of bringing in a new machine that does that. Would that be something of interest to you? Great, I'll add you to our list. That's all you need to do. Don't just go and buy it. And the best one is ask the other clients that are using this equipment already. So don't just take the salesperson's word for it. Go and talk to the people that are already using these machines and these equipment to see if they work. So, and actually something I just missed on the bottom one there, you'd be surprised that all that market research might lead you to a different answer. They might be looking for something else. So I would say, and I see this a lot, clinics open up, they spend 100 grand on new equipment, open their doors, no money left over for marketing, wonder why they got no clients. So please don't fall into the same trap. Only buy it when you know there's a need for it and you can afford it. And if you, just when you're promoting it, like I said, use all the tools that I've explained, the social proof, video testimonials, etc., to create that desire and that hunger, but make sure it's going to bring you a return on investment, and try not to spend money on what I would call spray and pray advertising, throwing mud at the walls hoping it sticks. So that's hoping that someone saw that glossy magazine at the right time when they happen to flick over or happen to listen to your advert on the radio. That's brand building. That's not targeted advertising. Targeted advertising is Facebook ads, YouTube advertising, Google pay-per-click, anywhere where people are genuinely looking for your solutions.